Anytime somebody gives me something for songwriting, like Songwriting Hall of Fame, Poets Awards, Writers Awards, that's what I was, first and foremost, was a songwriter.
Toby Keith has always been larger than life, a country music icon whose songs tell stories of love, loss, and the rugged spirit of America. But behind the fame, there's a side of his life that fans have never seen, a private world filled with personal treasures, secrets, and memories carefully tucked away. And now, after his passing, what has emerged from the quiet corners of his home has stunned everyone. The search of Toby Keith's garage was not a casual cleanup. It was a meticulous exploration undertaken by family members and close associates who wanted to uncover pieces of his private world that had remained hidden for decades. And what they found went far beyond old instruments, memorabilia, or even collectible cars. It was a glimpse into the man behind the songs, the life he lived away from cameras, the moments he never shared with anyone. Sources say that the discoveries revealed a mix of nostalgia, mystery, and shock. Some items sparked tears, others laughter, and some left everyone questioning how much of Toby Keith's personal life had truly been unknown. Fans may think they knew him, but the truth behind these findings paints a portrait of a man whose passions, quirks, and private decisions were far richer than anyone imagined. This isn't just about objects in a garage. It's about the story they tell, the life they reveal, and the memories they preserve. What Toby Keith left behind is more emotional and more revealing than anyone could have expected. Toby Keith's garage had always been a place of curiosity for those closest to him. Throughout his life, it was a room seldom discussed, rarely visited by anyone beyond his immediate family. To the public, Toby Keith was the singer with the gravelly voice, the charismatic performer who could fill stadiums with stories of love, heartbreak, and patriotism. But inside that garage, he kept pieces of a life no one had seen, a private world meticulously curated over decades. After his passing, the decision to finally enter that space was met with a mixture of anticipation, trepidation, and reverence. When family members first approached the garage, it was clear that this was more than a simple storage area. The air carried the scent of aged wood, polished metal, and faint traces of oil and gasoline, remnants of a man who worked with his hands as much as with his voice. Boxes were stacked carefully, shelves lined with items arranged with a precision that reflected Toby's methodical nature. There were guitars he never played on stage, memorabilia from tours no one ever knew existed, and countless personal notes and letters tucked away in drawers. Each item felt like a whisper from the past, revealing not just the story of a musician, but of a man who lived intensely in every moment. Among the first discoveries were hundreds of handwritten lyrics and song drafts. Fans may have known Toby for hits like "Should Have Been a Cowboy" or "Courtesy of the Red, White and Blue," but inside these pages were songs that never saw the light of day. Raw, emotional, sometimes painfully personal. Some reflected heartbreak, others moments of triumph, and a few were even darker, hinting at struggles Toby faced privately. Family members were stunned by the honesty embedded in the lines. These were glimpses of a man who wore his heart on paper, but rarely on his sleeve. Beyond music, the garage held unexpected treasures. There were stacks of photographs capturing moments that had never appeared in magazines or social media. Some were candid shots of Toby with close friends, laughing uncontrollably during private vacations. Others showed him with his family in quiet, everyday moments, grilling in the backyard, teaching his children to ride bikes, or simply sitting together on a porch. Each photograph told a story, and the sheer intimacy of these images revealed a side of Toby Keith no one had seen before. Even more surprising were the personal collections that seemed almost obsessive in their care. Vintage motorcycles, collectible memorabilia from his childhood, and even old instruments with notes on tuning and maintenance filled the space. It became evident that Toby wasn't just a musician. He was a collector, a historian of his own life, preserving every piece that held meaning. Every object carried a memory, and every memory told a story of the man behind the public persona. Perhaps the most striking discovery was a small, locked cabinet tucked in a corner. No one knew what it contained, and the family approached it with both curiosity and caution. Inside were letters from fans, notes from friends, and small mementos that Toby had kept for years, tokens of gratitude, love, and shared experience. Some were simple. A pressed flower from a fan he had met backstage. Others were deeply personal. Handwritten confessions, poems, and reflections meant only for him. In that moment, it became clear that Toby Keith's garage was more than storage. It was a sanctuary. A place where he preserved not just objects, but emotions. As the family continued to explore, a quiet reverence filled the space. Laughter mingled with tears as memories came flooding back. Each item, each photograph, each note seemed to tell a story that no stage, no interview, and no performance could ever capture. It was Toby Keith in his purest form. Honest, passionate, and deeply human. By the end of the day, the family realized that the garage had given them more than physical artifacts. It had given them insight, understanding, and a profound connection to the man they loved. The space revealed that Toby Keith's life extended far beyond the spotlight. It was a tapestry of personal triumphs, hidden struggles, and intimate moments. Carefully preserved for those who truly cared, this discovery would forever change how his family, and perhaps the world, understood him. Toby Keith's legacy was not just the music he left behind, but the life he meticulously documented in the quiet corners of his garage. A private story, finally revealed in all its complexity and humanity. After the initial shock of discovering the personal treasures in Toby Keith's garage, family members took a step back to absorb what they had uncovered. Each shelf, drawer, and box seemed to tell of his life that had never been visible to the public. Beyond the obvious memorabilia and musical notes, there were layers of Toby's personality, interests, and private reflections, revealing a man far more multifaceted than anyone had realized. One of the most poignant aspects of the garage was the careful organization of everything Toby had accumulated. It was clear that he valued order not just in objects but in memories. Photographs were sorted by years and events, old journals were stacked in chronological order, and instruments were lined up with meticulous attention. Even random items like ticket stubs, concert programs, and old fan letters were preserved with care. For the family, this attention to detail revealed Toby's deep respect for the passage of time, and the people who shared it with him, among the most emotionally charged discoveries were items tied to his early life and the people who had influenced him before fame. Childhood mementos like trophies, baseball cards, and old school awards were tucked away in boxes that had not been opened in decades. Letters from mentors and friends highlighted a man shaped by both encouragement and challenge. The family realized that Toby had carried these memories with him intentionally, preserving reminders of the roots that had grounded him even as his career skyrocketed. These artifacts painted a picture of a man deeply connected to his past and determined to honor it privately. Then came the musical treasures, song drafts, lyric notebooks, and old recordings. While many songs had been shared with the world, countless compositions had never been performed publicly. Some were personal reflections on love, heartbreak, and the strains of fame. Others were playful sketches, musical experiments, or ideas that he had chosen to refine over time. Family members were amazed by the vulnerability captured in these notes. Emotions Toby rarely displayed in public, raw and unfiltered. It became clear that for Toby, music was not only a career, but a form of emotional preservation, a diary written in melody and words. The garage also held an assortment of collectibles that revealed Toby's lesser-known passions. Vintage motorcycles lined one corner, their chrome polished and engines carefully maintained. Memorabilia from his travels, souvenirs, ticket stubs, and rare gifts from fans added layers to the story of his life. One striking find was a set of old military items, carefully boxed and labeled, which spoke to Toby's respect for service members and his interest in history. These discoveries reflected a man who lived fully, with curiosity, reverence, and a desire to honor the experiences that shaped him. As the family continued exploring, they stumbled upon a series of personal letters and mementos that revealed Toby's more private interactions. Letters from close friends, notes exchanged with collaborators, and small keepsakes highlighted his thoughtfulness and generosity. In some letters, he expressed gratitude or shared advice. In others, he simply documented moments of joy, struggle, or reflection. The items collectively revealed a man who valued connection deeply, even if he did not always express it outwardly. For the family, the experience of exploring the garage became more than a search for objects. It became a journey through Toby Keith's inner world, Emotions ran high as laughter, nostalgia, and tears intertwined. Each discovery deepened their understanding of his personality, revealing layers of vulnerability, humor, passion, and integrity that had been hidden from the public eye. It was a reminder that fame often masks complexity, and that behind every celebrity is a human being with private triumphs, fears, and memories. By the end of this discovery solidified a powerful truth. Toby Keith's impact was not only in the hits he created or the stages he dominated, but in the private moments and personal connections he preserved with care, love, and intention. The garage had revealed the heart of the man, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the world to finally glimpse the real Toby Keith. As the family delved deeper into Toby Keith's garage, it became increasingly clear that every corner held stories, memories, and emotions carefully preserved over decades. Each item told a part of his life that fans had never seen, from private struggles to small victories. The more they explored, the more they realized that this space was not merely a storage area, it was a sanctuary where Toby had documented his life, leaving behind a narrative that spoke volumes about who he truly was. One of the most emotionally striking discoveries was a series of personal journals. Toby had filled these notebooks over the years with reflections on his career, family, friendships, and the challenges that fame brought into his life. Some entries were lighthearted, recounting funny moments on tour or behind-the-scenes anecdotes. Others were deeply introspective, revealing fears, regrets, and moments of self-doubt that the public had never imagined. Reading these pages, the family felt as though they were seeing Toby in his purest form, a man unguarded, honest, and human. Alongside the journals were letters from fans and fellow musicians. Some letters expressed gratitude for the way Toby's music had touched lives. Others shared personal stories of struggle, hope, or healing inspired by his songs. Toby had kept each letter, some for decades, preserving them as tokens of connection. The family noticed how meticulously these letters were organized, indicating that Toby valued these bonds, even those with people he had never met in person. It was a reminder that, beyond fame and fortune, he cared deeply about the impact his work had on others. The garage also contained artifacts from Toby's hobbies and passions outside music. Vintage motorcycles gleamed in corners, each maintained with care. Old hunting gear, sports memorabilia, and rare collectibles filled shelves, illustrating a man who lived fully and passionately in multiple spheres. Family members laughed and reminisced as they found items that sparked memories, like an old baseball glove from his youth or a guitar, signed by a mentor. These discoveries revealed the multidimensional nature of Toby's life, one that combined artistry, adventure, and an unwavering dedication to personal interests. Amid the physical items, one corner of the garage drew particular attention, a carefully locked chest that Toby had clearly intended to keep private. When opened, it revealed items of profound personal significance, photographs of intimate family moments, handwritten notes to loved ones, and small keepsakes marking important life events. The contents offered a glimpse into Toby's emotional world, showing a depth of care, sentimentality, and connection rarely seen by anyone outside his inner circle. Family members were moved to tears, realizing how much thought and love had gone into preserving these memories. Even simple objects carried weight. An old pair of boots, worn and scuffed, told stories of long days on tour and tireless dedication to his craft. Instruments he rarely performed on held notes and scribbles, showing experiments in melody and lyrics, giving insight into his creative process. In every corner, there were remnants of a man committed to living fully, recording life not only for himself but for those he loved. For the family, the experience became more than an inventory of objects. It was a journey through Toby Keith's heart and mind. Each discovery offered context for his life, explaining the choices he had made, the joys he had pursued, and the moments of vulnerability he had carefully guarded. Friends and relatives agreed that this intimate exploration provided a new understanding of Toby, not just as a musician or celebrity, but as a husband, father, friend, and man of profound depth. By the end of the day, the garage had transformed from a private storage space into a living archive of Toby Keith's life. It revealed a side of him that was intimate, human, and deeply affecting. Objects, letters, and photographs collectively painted a portrait of a man whose private world was as rich and complex as his public persona. The family left the garage with a renewed sense of connection to Toby, feeling as though they had walked alongside him through the years, sharing moments that had previously remained hidden. The discoveries were a testament to the care and thoughtfulness with which Toby had lived his life. Every item in the garage held meaning, every photograph carried emotion, and every letter preserved a story. Through this private archive, the family and, eventually, the world gained a glimpse of the real Toby Keith, a man who loved deeply, created passionately, and preserved his legacy not just in music, but in the memories, objects, and stories he carefully safeguarded throughout his life. By the time the family reached the final corners of Toby Keith's garage, it was clear that this space had been more than a storage area. It was a chronicle of a life fully lived. Every shelf, every drawer, and every container held pieces of him, memorabilia, personal reflections, creative experiments, and tokens of love and connection. The discoveries were not merely nostalgic. They revealed the depth of a man who had always been larger than life in the public eye, but far more complex and thoughtful in private. Among the last discoveries were items tied to milestones in his career. Awards, plaques, and framed photographs of early performances told a story of dedication, perseverance, and triumph. Yet the most striking elements were the candid artifacts, backstage passes scribbled with personal notes, set lists with last-minute changes, and photographs capturing the quiet moments between performances. These items illustrated Toby's dedication to his craft, but more importantly, they revealed his humanity, the man behind the legend, working tirelessly, celebrating small victories, and quietly processing challenges. One unexpected find was a collection of handwritten letters to his family. Some were simple notes of encouragement or love, others were reflective, sharing thoughts and feelings that he had never spoken aloud. These letters showed a tenderness that fans rarely saw. In them, Toby expressed gratitude for his children, admiration for his friends, and concern for those he cared about. It became evident that while Toby Keith's public persona exuded confidence and bravado, his private self was deeply thoughtful, emotionally connected, and profoundly caring. Perhaps the most emotionally moving discovery was a scrapbook filled with personal mementos from fans. Tickets, letters, drawings, and photographs spanned decades, each carefully preserved. Toby had kept them not out of obligation, but as a testament to the lives he had touched. His family realized that these were more than souvenirs. They were symbols of the connections he had forged with people he may never have met, yet who had mattered deeply to him. The scrapbook demonstrated the mutual respect and affection that defined Toby's relationships with his audience. The garage also contained artifacts of leisure and hobbies, providing insight into his life outside of music. Vintage motorcycles and hunting gear were arranged as if waiting for the next adventure. Old sports memorabilia, carefully boxed and labeled, revealed a love for games, competition, and camaraderie. Each object illustrated the man behind the fame, adventurous, passionate, and invested in living life fully. Family members laughed and reminisced as they handled items that triggered cherished memories, realizing that Toby had intentionally preserved these objects for them to discover one day. By the end of the search, a sense of reverence filled the room. The garage, once just a physical space, had become a narrative of Toby Keith's life. Family members understood that he had meticulously documented his journey in ways that spoke of intention, foresight, and love. Every object told a story. Every photograph, letter, and keepsake conveyed emotions he often kept private. This intimate understanding allowed them to connect with Toby in a way that was impossible while he was alive, offering closure, insight, and a deep sense of presence. In reflecting on the discoveries, the family realized that Toby's legacy extended far beyond his music. While his songs will always be remembered, the personal treasures preserved in his garage tell the story of a man who valued memories, relationships, and authenticity above all. He had created a private archive that encapsulated the totality of his life, the struggles, triumphs, joys, and quiet moments that defined who he was away from the spotlight. Finally, the garage left a lasting impression. Toby Keith's life had been carefully documented, preserved and honored in ways that went beyond fame and fortune. Each item was a testament to a man who lived fully, loved deeply, and thoughtfully considered how his memories and experiences would endure. For the family, it was more than discovery. It was a profound connection to Toby himself, a reminder of his humanity, his heart, and the private life that complemented the public legend. As they closed the garage door for the last time, those who entered knew they had witnessed something extraordinary. Toby Keith's life had been immortalized not only in his music but in the tangible, heartfelt mementos he had chosen to preserve, a private world now shared, revealing the real man behind the legend and leaving a legacy that will inspire awe, reflection, and admiration for generations to come.